Hello, I'm Meg Salyer, and I have the privilege of representing Ward 6 for the City of Oklahoma City. And today we're going to talk about a new initiative on behalf of the city called PlanOKC. And with me is Russell Klaus, who's our Director of Planning, and Ashley Nolan, who is, in her real life, the Regional Resource Director for the Salvation Army. So I hope we'll get to talk a little bit about the exciting new campus to be developed by the Salvation Army. But Ashley is also serving as one of the citizens on our PlanOKC task force. And so, Russell, maybe you could start out by giving us a little history. What is PlanOKC and why now, and what are we looking to accomplish?
Well, PlanOKC is the name that we use for our comprehensive plan, and the comprehensive plan is essentially the master plan for the entire city. It's a huge undertaking and not something that we do very often. In fact, this is only the fourth time that we have done a new comprehensive plan in the history of the city.
Oh, gosh.
So it is a huge undertaking.
So 1889 to 2012,
that's correct.
and this is the fourth time?
That's correct. We haven't done one since 1977. We've done a couple of updates, but we haven't gone back to scratch and looked at where we are. And I think everybody would agree that we're quite a different city from where we were in 1977. So it's long overdue, and for us in the planning world, this is a very exciting thing to do.
And so a comprehensive plan like this does what for the city? What kinds of things does it address, and how does it affect Ashley's everyday life, and how does it affect that life of our citizens?
Well, the intent is it is comprehensive by name and by nature. The intent is to try and address all of those things that affect us on a daily basis and that are going to affect us as a city for the next couple of decades. We try to forecast as far out as we can, and obviously the world continues to change, so we'll continue to modify it. We do want to make this a living document, so it will adjust as the world changes. But its intent is to capture the desires and the hopes and the dreams of the people of Oklahoma City, to articulate those in the plan about what we want to be as we go forward. And we also look at it from a city perspective of trying to marry together all the different objectives that we have in the different departments. So we work with all of our other departments in identifying what their issues are and what their growth patterns are going to be, and pulling all that together. It's quite an undertaking.
Great. Well, you can see why it takes a lot of input. And so, Ashley, let's jump to your side of this. You're from Oklahoma. You went to the University of Oklahoma. You live here now. You're raising you've got a young son at home. You're raising a family. Tell me why it was important for you to get involved, because you did have to make an application. This wasn't a passive thing. You really had to.
Absolutely. I've always had an interest in public policy, and I felt the need for someone from my generation to kind of step in, because what I hear a lot of the time from people my age is, well, where do we start? What do we do? We have a lot of ideas. We don't know how to share it. People generally think that they have to have an in to have an input. And I wanted to be a stance and show, you just have to show the initiative, and people are going to listen. And I think having my perspective, working for the Salvation Army, and being from this younger generation, I hope amps up some other individuals to try to be a part of what we're doing here in Oklahoma City, which is growing so fast. And I mean, at first when you graduate, you're thinking you want to move out, and I saw all the great things that Oklahoma City was doing, and I wanted to be a part of it. So,
well, we really appreciate, number one, you taking the initiative, and let's get the word spread that through this process actually is a great stepping stone to other things. And one of the things I didn't really realize when I joined the council 3.5 years ago was how many commissions and boards and trusts there are, all staffed with volunteers, all volunteer decision makers who help form and implement the kind of direction that we see the city going in. And probably our viewers are familiar with the various MAPS oversight commissions because they see a lot of that. But virtually every aspect of city operations is overseen by volunteers, and so we're thrilled to begin to be able to pull some new people into the process. So thank you for that. Russell, there are areas, we talked about sort of focus, but there are areas that we're engaging in that includes everything from neighborhoods to transportation to cultural life to diversity, and we tried to reach folks from all of those different areas. And so Plan OKC will integrate each of these aspects?
Yeah, there are 8 major elements to the plan that include the things you talked about plus others, and we have been working with the community for quite a long time already, and even prior to that. I mean, we've been involved in this process for about nearly over 2 years now, where we put together data to begin with, and then we formed a bunch of ad hoc committees where we talked about each of those different elements. And those elements those carry through the entire plan, and we ask for people to represent each of those. So we have somebody on the Citizens Advisory team who will be there who will be there to represent the viewpoints on land use and arts and culture and service to the community, etc. So those will all be on there. And in addition to that, we've included an emphasis on public schools, mm-hmm. On healthy communities. Health is obviously important to virtually everybody now because of the cost factor, but it's a huge quality of life issue, and it's so important that it be included, and not just included, but to actually be to underpin the whole plan. So
commercial for the fact that we just celebrated that we lost 1 million pounds.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a huge milestone to have
if we
accomplished.
adhere to the comprehensive plan when it's implemented, we'll be up to several million pounds. That's
great. And Ashley, do you have a specific interest area of focus or?
Community and development is probably what my focus was when I initially applied. Mm-hmm. I think going into the process, I'm going to see a lot of different areas that I'm interested in because I don't really see the broad spectrum of that yet. So I'm interested to dive in and go to the meetings and see what all the volunteers are doing and what opportunities we have.
Great. Well, you bring another wonderful perspective for me, and that is I know that you also are very involved with an organization called Sally's List,
yes.
and encouraging young women to get involved in politics
and
to run for office.
Yes, it's something I'm passionate about, women in politics, and what Sally's List, or what separates Sally's List from the other women's initiatives, is that we are actually training women and teaching them how to run for office, which is a little bit different from the other great organizations that we have in regards to women in Oklahoma.
Where were you when I needed you? I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, it is fairly new, starting in 2010 by Sally Mock, who has now passed away. But Sarah Jane Rose is the president of Sally's List. She's doing a great job, and there's a lot of women interested now. And now that there is a group there to be able to help them and give them that push they need.
Great. Yeah. Well, I really admire you for getting into it early and providing such a wonderful opportunity for folks that want to get involved in the system. And so this is a perfect, example and kind of a segue. You got involved in the system, and I could certainly see this begin to evolve into some more involvement with the city. Russell, if other people want to get involved, we have already selected the formal members of the committee, and I do want to point out that we've got 4 council members that will serve, and in the other 4 wards are planning commissioners. So in the case of Ward 6, Bob Bright will be serving on my behalf on the commission.
Yeah, the intent with the team is to get as broad a representation of interest and experience in the city as possible. So it's going to be a very interesting exercise. It'll go on for, at least this phase of the plan process will go on for at least 12 months. So Ashley is signing up for a host of meetings. We'll have a facilitator to ensure that we stay on track with the dialogue, and we certainly encourage and would welcome anybody else who wants to attend these meetings. We have not set a calendar yet.
Okay.
We're looking at having our inaugural meeting sometime in early February, and at that point in time we'll identify when the next meetings will be, and we will promote those through our public information office.
Where will we meet here? Will you be meeting?
We're looking at several different options. We may meet at the zoo. We may meet in other convenient locations. We're still working on that as well.
We do have people coming from all over the metro area.
Right.
Convenience is one, and it's not very convenient to come downtown right now.
I think City Hall's kind of out. We really don't have the right meeting space here, so we'd prefer to have it perhaps.
And people will be able to access that information on the city website.
It'll be on the city website. As soon as we have it, we'll post it, and hopefully we'll we'll do a little promotion on it as well.
Great. And what kind of link would they find at the city website? Will you go
It should be on the front page.
directly
it
to
should be
OKC?
It should be on
Plan OKC?
Yeah, Plan OKC.
Great. I have certainly found that site to be very easy to navigate, and once you know what you're looking for. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
Well, I have a great staff, and they're all extremely passionate about this. So
Great.
we hope to keep that information stream going. And this is when it gets really interesting, when we have such an open public dialogue on it.
Well, that's right. I mean, I just really think we want to encourage folks to attend. I know, oftentimes we have public meetings and we get a small core group, but we don't reach out to the broader community. And I think it's incredibly important, as you say, if we've only done this once in 4 decades in our city's lifetime, that this is a really important step in what our community looks like going forward. And so whether that's green space or whether it's bike shares, we just approved a contract, I think, with OKC today to downtown Oklahoma City to manage our bike share program, which is
so exciting.
Isn't that going to be fun?
And if anybody has a passion and interest in the city, as Ashley is demonstrating, then you need to show up at these meetings, and you need to let us know what your desires or concerns may be. And it doesn't have to be through that team process either. Our website is open at any point in time to be able to offer comment as well, and staff are happy to hear those viewpoints.
Great. Well, I want to thank you both so much for coming down today. This is really an incredibly exciting process, and I particularly wanted the folks to get to meet Ashley to see that we have lots of bright young faces getting engaged in the city and sharing the enthusiasm for what's going on in our community. We see it every day down here, with whether it's the river and whether it's the beautiful new gardens, whether it's our Project 180, we get to see it, but not quite as many people have the chance to be involved. So I want to thank you for your time and effort. I know it's challenging with a young one, but it'll work out fine. And Russell, for everything you do to guide and direct and implement plans for the city, we're very grateful. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.